How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 42 of the ControllerCast. I'm joined as always by my all three of us are actually wearing glasses. I didn't even process that. The three glass-wearing musketeers. Uh, I'm your host today, joined by Andrew, ready for war, ready to take the battle to Ukraine. Ihausen. Uh, Johnny, Johnny loves ass wood, and me, just a regular Joe, or selector here. So, Andrew, how was your week, man?
It was pretty low key. Was really busy with work and honestly did not do anything of note. I don't believe. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but just cold, depressing Nebraska, no sun, just clouds, wind, cold, just all around miserable.
Yeah, the weather was shitty in Omaha.
Yeah.
I can attest. I was there even this week.
Yep, not really good, but it's whatever. We're out here. Supposed to be nice next week though, so I guess that's worth something.
Yeah,
But
and shit.
yeah, I've just me and John have been playing the Fortnite, maybe Fart Night, depending on who you ask.
Farting.
Yeah, and
But I mean, are you nervous? Are you excited about going to Ukraine?
Oh god.
yeah. So John, how was your week?
I'd like to clarify the glasses I'm wearing are actually just blue light glasses because I'm 100 years old, and I'm worried that the light from screens is gonna slowly destroy my eyes. I feel like it actually helps my eyes not be as tired after like staring at screens all day. I highly recommend getting some blue light glasses. No, it's been a pretty chill week. Andrew let me borrow Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I've played that a little bit. Usually Casey likes to watch the games that I'm playing, but she's not too into Pokemon, which I mean, I understand a game like that she wouldn't really want to watch. It's more fun if you're playing it yourself. But I've put about 5.5 hours into that, and as someone who's not a Pokemon fan at all, and has never played a game more than 30 minutes before this one, I highly recommend. Nah, I can't. I'm not gonna say that yet, but it's really fun, actually. I'm sure if you're a Pokemon fan, you've already played it, but even for a non-Pokemon fan, it's really fun. It reminds me a lot of Breath of the Wild, like Andrew has said, but with Pokemon, worse graphics. But there's this collectability to it. Obviously, you're collecting Pokemon that makes it really fun. I like games that you just try and get collectibles, honestly. I feel like as I've grown, I've liked games like that a little bit more for some reason. Kind of keeps you coming back. Like, I really want to complete my Pokédex, but I'm sure that would take like 70 hours if I really, really hammer into it and 100%. And I'm not even sure if that's how you 100% it. Is it, Andrew? Just completing the Pokédex?
Yeah.
So that would probably take quite a bit of time. I'm not sure if I'll have that much time with it.
Yeah, it'd probably take you like 70 or 80.
It's quite a bit.
Okay,
and I don't know if I want to do that.
I have to ask something about the Pokemon Legends. Andrew, I feel like you might actually agree with me on this, but I feel like once you get past like the aesthetics of the game, I feel like the game itself is not like very similar to like Breath of the Wild. I feel like I could be wrong about that. From what I was watching, it seemed like a lot more controlled than Breath of the Wild, but it just had a lot of the same aesthetic.
I would say it's a lot
Like
of
I was like on a graphical end, it looks similar, but like when we were actually playing, it seemed like like hub based and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, you have a central hub you return to, but like there's boss battles and all that stuff still. And I mean, you have like a ton of different like side quests where you have to like find certain things and make certain things. So I mean it's similar in those respects, but like I mean, yeah, if you're going by pure open worldness, then yeah, I guess it's not that similar, but just because
A lot of it is aesthetic.
Yeah.
For me anyway. And the fact that it's an open world Nintendo game and there's not a lot of that. I guess I just correlate it automatically to Breath of the Wild. But I mean, other than that, I wouldn't compare it too much. It just reminds me of it a little bit just because of that. It's an open world Nintendo game, but been having a lot of fun with that. I do hope to maybe beat it, like the mainline story sometime this week, because I don't want to have anything backlogged before getting into freaking all these other games that are coming out this year, even before the baby is born, which is very rapidly approaching. I think we're like 9 weeks away now. So hopefully we can get to episode 50 on the pod before we have to take a little break, the paternity break. We'll be really close. If we don't hit it, we'll be damn close. So other than Arceus, like Andrew said, been playing a lot of Fortnite. Been winning a lot more lately. So I think I'm actually getting decent after putting like 70 hours into it in like a month. I'm finally getting to be like mediocre at the game. So that's been a lot of fun. Probably spent a little too much money on Fortnite.
Fortnite addiction created, unlocked.
Cringe comp.
Dude, something about video game cosmetics. Fortnite better than anyone else.
Bro, this is all just a metaverse investment. Just think of it like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell myself.
Buying $100 worth of V-Bucks for the metaverse investment.
I think I'm probably at like 50-ish. I try and justify it in my head, like, okay, if I were to spend $50 on an actual game, would I even put 70 hours into it? Probably not most games. So I'm trying to like justify it that way in my head. But
the funny thing was yesterday when the Inkville costume set came out, I didn't have enough and I didn't want to buy it, so I just refunded like the Stormtrooper outfit and got like all my V-Bucks back from it.
You
just
did? Oh no!
Yeah, you can refund.
You can refund 3 things per calendar year.
I think it's 5 actually.
No, it's 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Also, Andrew's cracked up Fortnite now.
Andrew's pretty good.
Yeah,
better
I'm
than me.
I'm an absolute menace.
The bow.
But, our 4th member, Jared, that we usually play with, is freaking actually insane. Like, if he played on PC and like was really good with mouse and keyboard, he'd probably be like Twitch streamer levels of skill. But yeah, besides playing Fortnite, getting slightly mediocre at it. Casey and I went to Amateur Coffee in Omaha yesterday. Got the Lucky Charms latte. That was really good. I highly recommend. I also highly recommend going to Sweet Magnolia's Bake Shop. Have you guys been there?
Never.
It's so good.
Yes, I have before actually.
I figured you maybe had, Andrew, especially if you've been to Amateur. It's right by it.
Yeah, it's right down the street.
Yeah. And they have some of the best sweets that I've like. I would say the only other place I've had in Omaha that compares is probably Bubbly Tart, but I almost like Sweet Magnolias more because it seems like they have a little more consistency, and like you can go and get, like, if you like something a lot, you can go and get it again. But like Bubbly Tart, their menu changes a little bit more. I'm trying to think what else we did. Ate out a little bit more this week than we probably should have. Tried Coca-Cola Starlight. Again, I highly recommend. It's gonna be a running meme that I just highly recommend.
That shit's banging. This space flavor.
Yeah, it's literally, it says space flavored, from Coca-Cola Creations, whatever that means. but it's limited edition. I got it at Walmart, so I would try it out. If you like Coke, you're gonna love it. It's got like a weird cotton candy like smell twinge to it. I can't really explain like what the taste is. To me, it mostly tasted just like Coke, but like a little sweeter. But the smell, I definitely got a little cotton candy from it. But that's pretty much it. Kind of long-winded. Kind of a lot of details. But what about you, Ursula? Seems like you were pretty busy.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Omaha with you guys. I finished that little trip-a-rooney off. We played in the time that we hung out after, we played like Pokemon Legends, which was pretty fun. Just seeing that game and acting like jackasses in it. And but then from there, I actually got a promotion at my company, which was cool.
Woo!
Which is like pretty good timing with like me going on vacation to Colorado, because like, oh, I'm gonna get back and finish off this next work week and then just start a new job. So that's cool. And then yeah, I've been in Colorado just visiting some friends, staying with a really good close friend of mine, probably actually I would probably say my oldest friend besides like you guys. And it's been I mean, I went skiing like yesterday, and I'll just say this right now. Colorado ski slopes are like, I knew they were like considered like world class, right? But man, they were like a large jump between like from the skiing I did in Arizona. I was like going up the fucking ski the
Ski
oh
lift?
my yeah, the ski
I
lift. And
think that's what it's called.
yeah, it is. I was just going up, and it just kept going up and up and up and up, and I'm like, bro, this, like, I was like double checking. I'm like, are you sure this is a fucking green slope? Like, I'm like, this is going for a minute. And then we got to the top of the fucking mountain, and it's like, yep, this trail is a green. And I'm like, damn, this green slope is going down this entire mountain. And it's like, yeah, like fucking way longer than the like Arizona slopes. Like, bro, it was like taking, like, it took me like an hour to get down these fucking slopes. You are fucking tired by the end of it, dude. It is a workout. Like, it is like the best possible leg day workout you could probably ever get in your life. Like, you have to use your legs so much to control and brake and do all this shit. Like, there's so many times I would just have to stop because the trail is so long, and I would just have to stop and be like, dude, I need to like I could keep going down this, but I need to stop because my like legs are like burning.
Your knees are giving
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, for real. But
Knee
like, from what
replacement
I've
time.
heard, I was very proud of my performance, because like people say like Colorado greens are kind of like blues everywhere else, and like Colorado blues are like blacks everywhere else. Like, it's kind of like they're just harder. But it was really fun. And then that was, but yeah, so yesterday was a long ass day. That was like we woke up at like 4 a.m., got ready, drove into the Rockies, went to Keystone Resort. And then, I mean, I went to bed at like midnight. So it was like a 20-hour day. Uh, so honestly, too crazy up until, you know, but besides that, I also, I guess, woke up this morning and I saw a Pokemon trailer, a new Pokemon trailer, not some hype trailer for Arceus, but actually for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is coming out this year. It just got announced this morning, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but yeah, it's like the next mainline entry in the series. Andrew, you're probably in the best position to talk about this, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. There was a new announcement, but there was also an Arceus announcement, so you're kind of half right.
Oh shit.
So
Half-at.
I didn't really pay attention much to the Arceus part of the, well, okay, so background: today is Pokemon Day. It is the 26th anniversary of these games coming out in Japan. So they always have February 27th as Pokemon Day.
Oh, I was wondering why they did a Sunday morning thing.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes with whatever day February 27th falls on that year. But yeah, they're I didn't really pay much attention to whatever the Arceus update is because I don't have the game in my possession right now, so I don't really care what the update is right now. But they did announce Gen 9 new Pokemon games called Scarlet and Ruby, or Scarlet and Violet, my bad. The description, and it looks like Arceus but with better visuals. I know I talked when I gave like a short review of Arceus that Arceus probably created a good baseline for them to build off of in the next title, and it looks like, I mean, we're going at like fucking light speed and this shit's going to come out in November already. So I mean, it looks like it put down a pretty good base because they described it up front as an open world mainline title, so it looks like it's going to be more of like the path that you would take in the linear games but in the open world, because like Arceus is like, for all purposes, like a brand new concept where you, like, you know, Pokemon are fighting you, and like the boss battles are you just like trying to like quell a fury or whatever they call it. So I'm interested to see how they put the linearity of the mainline games into an open world game. I think it at least looks better. I mean, Arcel said, you know, it looks like a GameCube game now instead of an N64 game. So we're making progress in the right direction. I'm just surprised it's coming out this year. I thought it would be like that they were just gonna like announce it for like 2023, which also kind of worries me because that's like 10 months in between releases. So I don't really know how good it can be. Like, and I guess I don't know what the internal workings of Game Freak are right now. Whether they like expanded, hired more people, they have like multiple teams now. I have no idea.
I feel like they have to have multiple teams if this thing's
I mean,
out. There's no way just coming out 10 months like, and they're starting from scratch.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. I'm interested in it. I don't have very high hopes for it just because the mainline titles lately have kind of sucked ass, and Arceus was a nice refreshment. So if they can at least build on what Arceus has, if they keep the open world like just running around sniping random Pokemon, yeah, I think it could be good. They need to make the story good because I know John's playing through it right now, but like the story in Arceus is not exactly like the most imaginative that I've seen, just because as somebody who has played Diamond Pearl and then the remasters, like it seems like they kind of like gave up on character development because like basically every main character is like just based off of like a Diamond and Pearl character, like almost
also
exactly.
So dry.
Yeah,
they just seem dry personality wise.
Yeah, the Game Freak's not great at making stories in their games, and that's why they don't do the anime storyline. So that's probably good that they don't do that. But I mean, I'm interested. I'm kind of nervous about how soon it's coming out. But I mean, at least from the initial trailer, it looks graphically better and visually better than Arceus. So I mean, I guess Arceus didn't exactly set a high bar of graphics and visuals to jump over, but I think these ones can. I mean, at least from the trailer, and I know Ursula, you haven't watched it yet. I don't know if you have either.
I did watch the trailer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed in the trailer it looks like the textures are a lot better and look a lot more like, you know, 2010s ish instead of
it's like saying it's like better than looks better than Arceus is just like Arceus looks like shit, so it's like anything's gonna look better.
Yeah, and I mean we'll see. I mean, the 86 Arceus guy, I don't know how much of that is inflated just due to it being a new concept for the series rather than like the actual quality of the game, but I guess this November,
I think it went down a little. Like I think it's like an 83 now.
Yeah, it might have gone down. I mean, I always take the initial ones. Let me see what it is right now. But I mean, I'm interested. Yeah, it is an 83 now. It's always weird how, well, I guess they add more in there, but
yeah, like the reviewers that don't get the early copies.
Yeah, there's
us.
probably a reason they. And
Why
then
are we
when
not on Metacritic,
the
man?
reviewers that don't get early copies end up giving it like making the score tank.
We need to be on Metacritic, damn it. I think if we started making like posts about our scores specifically, maybe we could
Like
get
what
on
IGN
there.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how the hell did Elden Ring? Oh, I guess the PC. Elden Ring's down to a 95 now, which is still really good, but like,
That's
Apparently
the
the
PC
PC
version.
version. Yeah.
oh,
The
I
actual
see.
the main version of the game, I mean the one with the most reviews still has a 97.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I see it on here. Damn, why are the user scores it? Oh, never mind.
It's crazy.
Also, review bombing. Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West got fucking review bombed, and it looks like Elden Ring is too on here. So,
Why does it always have to be game versus game? Like, can't we all just enjoy the good games that are coming out? Like,
No.
literally, I've seen fights between Horizon and Elden Ring fans on Twitter. I don't know why. Like, they don't need to compare each other. They're different games.
Speaking of Elden Ring, I mean, yeah, like I mean, just kind of setting the stage for that conversation. I mean, the reviews dropped on Wednesday, and it is tied for the third highest Metacritic of all time, um, which is fucking insane. I mean, I had a prediction that it would be like a 94, 95, but a 97 this early in the generation is fucking insane. Um, I'm super hyped for it because I mean people are legitimately saying better than Breath of the Wild, which is funny that like Breath of the Wild is just this like it's like any game that has like grass and sword or grass and like is
An
just
open
compared to Breath of
world
the Wild.
concept
Is
and
compared to
any
Breath
sort
of the
of
Wild. No,
exploration.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, people are literally saying it's taking the bar that Breath of the Wild set and moving that bar up, you know? And now it's like Elden Ring is going to be the one that people use to compare like open worlds to, which is big fucking praise. Because I mean, when a game comes out right away and people are talking about if it's one of the greatest games of all time, I feel like that says something about its quality. I haven't played it obviously yet because I'm still in Colorado, but I thought it was just crazy because it's like we're only like a year into this generation, and I feel like usually you get like you get like a couple of these like 97, 98 Metacritic scored games like a generation. You know, we got like 3 last generation with like Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and Red Dead 2. 4 if you count GTA 5. So it's like, well, we already got like one of those like, you know, once in a blue moon kind of games that are getting this crazy sort of reception. So I'm super fucking hyped for it because I know how like good From Software is as a developer. I mean, they've released like 6 games in the past 10 years, and the lowest any of them have on Metacritic is like 89. So maybe it might be time to like say that From Software is one of those. I mean, I'll say it. They are like probably up there with Nintendo, Rockstar, like Naughty Dog as like some of the best developers out there. You have to be if you're going to be making a game that's being so universally acclaimed like this. At least, which is funny that it's gained this acclaim because I've heard that the day one patch actually made the PC version worse, which is kind of funny. How a day one patch made the game worse. So that's like, why not just revert the patch? Because that's like, well, all the reviewers who reviewed it they're like, because people have been like, damn, like, did you see these problems on PC when you were playing the game? And they're like, no, like we're playing the game now, and it looks like the frame rate is like dropping worse or whatever.
That's like the
So
only
I mean,
complaint I've seen about the game though. Is just that the patch made the PC version run like ass.
yeah, which is like, how the fuck does that happen? It's also pretty interesting as like a big Souls or From Software like veteran, that like it's very interesting to see like the public, like a game that's been so hyped, you know, so a lot more people are jumping into this game just to see like very like I'm trying to figure out how to put this, like very like rudimentary like conversation around this game because it's like so much of this exact same conversation happened like when like Demon Souls or like Dark Souls came out like 10 years ago, and it's like, oh, like, okay, so you're new at these games, or like like you haven't like understood what kind of makes them click, because they are like super. I mean, they're essentially their own genre. Like that Donkey video, like from like a few months ago, where it was like, oh, like how like he took like sound clips from different reviewers, and it was like, oh, this game is like Breath of the Wild. Oh, this game is like Dark Souls. This game is like Dark Souls. This game is like Dark Souls. This game is like Legend of Zelda.
Anytime a
It's
game
like,
has a boss that's like relatively hard, people are like, this is like Dark Souls. This is a Dark Souls boss.
yeah, honestly, like yeah, which is funny. I mean, that just shows like how influential these games are. Um, I fucking love them, and I'm really excited for Elden Ring. I was gonna say something. Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I think uh, between you two, uh, John, I think this is a lot more up your alley, personally. Like in terms of like, uh, and I think the Breath of the Wild like comparison is kind of strange because it's like these games are like very, very unique and very different. It's kind of like imagine like when Breath of the Wild came out, it's like it's like hard to compare it to something else. Like when Breath of the Wild came out and someone asks you like what Breath of the Wild was like, it's like what do you use
It's
as a
like Breath
compare?
of the Wild.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, I mean, Elden Ring, like I guess probably the only thing you can say is like how open it is, how open-ended it is like Breath of the Wild, but like everything else is like pretty much like super fucking different.
Yeah,
And I can
yeah.
think like the main thing I heard about the exploration is like Breath of the Wild, the exploration was like the best part of the game, but like sometimes when you actually got to certain places, it wasn't like it was there was like a formula, like it was either like a tower or like a may or the what are those, the shrines, right? Or like
Fine.
maybe
Yeah.
like an enemy camp or something. And those are like what littered most of the world, outside of like few specific areas like the volcano and stuff. But like I heard like in Elden Ring, it's like it is like super open ended like Breath of the Wild, and every place you go to, it's like you will never ever know what you find there. Like people are saying they're like 50 hours in and are like, I'm seeing shit that like I cannot like wrap my brain around. That is like in the open world, like the shit that fucking exists. Like you know,
Yeah, I've
it's
seen some of the like bosses and stuff, and everything's just like straight out of a nightmare. It looks so cool. And I really
yeah.
want to get into it. The only thing that I am scared about, and I'm not that scared because I grew up on Crash Bandicoot and like fucking Kingdom Hearts, but like I am afraid that it might be too difficult and that like I might not have that much fun with it. But I know that, if there's a boss that's too difficult, technically you're just supposed to run the other way. Unless you're like a true Dark Souls like aficionado and you just stay there and beat it no matter how hard it is. And
Yeah.
no matter how low level you are. But I really want to pick it up. I really do. And it's only $50 at Walmart, which I thought was
How?
crazy.
How's that even a thing?
I don't know. You saw that picture, right? It was only $50. I was like, babe,
Walmart always
like,
has their all their games are $10 cheaper than the regular price.
What the fuck? I should have bought it at Walmart.
and seeing it next to Horizon that was $70, I was like, shit.
Yeah, I know, right? They just need to get rid of that $70 fucking thing. No one's following them with it.
Yeah, everyone just needs to go back to
Yeah.
60.
Yeah. I mean, John, why I was thinking it might be like more up your alley is, I mean, obviously you like Breath of the Wild, but like I feel like you're the type of guy like with a game like that. Like, because the games are like they're challenging. Like, I'm not even gonna like cap on that and say like, oh, they're easy. But it's
They're
like,
easy if you're not bad.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is they're tough, but they're like fair. Like I've never like died in this game and been like, well, that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Or like, like maybe I will say that when I'm like in the like I died and I'm fucking upset. But it's kind of like the thing where when you beat the fight, when you beat like a boss you've died on a couple times and you beat it, it's just like the best feeling like in any like single player game ever, because it's like, damn, I just like toppled this fucking mountain.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
like but it's like now it's like that concept of like, because the Dark Souls games were kind of linear, but now it's like that in the open world where it's just like, someone described it, it's like Elden Ring is like it's like you in the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker, but the game. It's just like, but no, like I heard like every location in the open world is super interesting. Like you could just walk into a random cave, and like the cave, you go down like their cave has an elevator, and you go down the elevator and you're just in this like underground like lava world. Like it's like those are just random locations. The game never tells you to go anywhere to these places, but like
Yeah.
it's like crazy variety. Like you'll find like 200-foot tall turtles, and like the imagination is like off the charts in this game, supposedly. Like I said, like I heard people are saying like they're just seeing shit that they're like, how does this exist?
Yeah.
Like in an open world.
Dude, I want to get it. The one thing that I'm really curious about is how it looks native, because I've only seen obviously like YouTube videos of people playing it and shit, and that never does it justice. I'll
Mhm.
see how it looks native on like PS5.
Yeah, I've heard that like from the tech stuff, the PS5 version is the best. Like it holds the highest frame rate and the highest resolution.
I
Like I
I
think,
watched a video on like the Series S versus X versus PS5, and I was surprised how the Series S handled it. Like it actually looked pretty damn good. A
yeah,
lot of like the shortcomings with it was just like a couple of texture things if you zoom in, but I was surprised that it held its own. And it's on PS4. Like, how would the
oh yeah.
PS4 run this shit?
I heard the PS4 version is like barely at 30 FPS.
I could see that. Yeah.
The PS4 version is on Metacritic is the one I saw like has like a 4 on the user score. And I don't know how much is review bombing, but I have heard that the PS4 version is not great.
Yeah.
But
That's what I
PS5, like if it sounds like if you're playing the game, you should be like on a PC or current gen console, not an Xbox One or a PS4.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's time for everyone to get off those fucking things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard the PS5 version's the best because it holds the highest frame rate. Like the lowest it drops I've seen is like 55 FPS. But like I've seen the Series X can drop the series. I've seen the
50.
Series X can. I've seen the Series X can drop down to 45. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, which is, I mean, pretty much across the board. It seems like
Mm.
every game that's on both, like the PS5 always has like higher frame rates.
Dang, that's
So
weird. I thought the Series X was the most powerful console of all time.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny, right? Like
Strange. That
PS
was part of their marketing scheme.
yeah, it's like how it always works. The split is always the PS5 version will have higher frame rates, and then the Xbox version will have like a slightly higher like resolution
Yeah,
max.
that's what I've seen. Like it actually I watched the comparison video and there were moments where I thought the Series X actually looked a little better, but like yeah, maybe the frame rate's just not there as
Yeah.
much.
So I mean, so I guess Andrew, like what are your, I know you seem mildly interested, but what's your
Uh,
curiosity with this thing?
Probably a game I pick up if it goes on sale later in the year. I just like, I mean, you guys know the type, like I play like arcade style games and like fast paced. Like I mean, even Breath of the Wild, I had to switch for 5 months before I ended up getting Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, you didn't get Breath of the
I
Wild.
mean, I'm not, I guess personally, I'm not too huge into, I mean, the Souls games, regardless of difficulty, are always interesting to me. I just like, I mean, like, I never played like Skyrim, The Witcher 3, never like any of those games. That genre is interesting, but not enough for me to pay money to play it. Like, I mean, if it goes on sale, maybe. But I mean, I stick more to like the platformer arcade fast paced. I mean, that's why like I mean shit, like my highest played games on my Switch is and even my PS4 are like GTA, like COD, like Fortnite, like all that shit. So I mean, I don't want my disinterest in Elden Rings to construe it as I can't appreciate good games or like I'm scared of hard games. It's just not a genre I usually dabble in.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the one thing I'll say about the Souls games is like I hate that the conversation for these games always goes back to and I'm not just saying this about like you just mentioned it, Andrew. I'm speaking in general. Like that the conversation about these games always goes back to how like quote unquote hard they are. Because honestly, the reason I love them is not because I get like wrecked by fucking bosses, like I'm some sadist or some shit. Like
I love getting my ass kicked.
yeah, like the games themselves are like fucking amazing. Like, and it just happens to be that they are tough, you know, like but like everyone like everyone talks about, oh, Dark Souls is so fucking hard. It's like the reason Dark Souls is one of my favorite games isn't because it's fucking hard. It's because the world and the like world building is super fucking cool and the combat is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I mean, the combat in these games is like way like fucking far like second to none in terms of like melee combat, I would say. You know, it's really really good. And yeah, like I said it kind of earlier, like Andrew, yeah, I don't know if this would be up your alley. But John, I actually think that if you played this game, I actually genuinely think that you would really really like it. I think you're someone that it would the loop of the game, it would really like connect with you.
It's funny because open world games, I feel like the ones like I never finish an open world story. I
Mhm.
never will do it. But open world games that are more like open ended
Yeah.
and gameplay focused, like Breath of the Wild, even though it did, I guess, have a story.
Yeah.
Like those I will pour time into. Like
Yeah.
even GTA Online, I have like that is actually my highest played game. It's like 390 hours I have on
Yeah.
GTA. And it's because it's the online. I haven't touched the story. Even Skyrim, when I played it, I put a bunch of time into it, but I never got even close to beating the main story. I think I got halfway through. I put that like a game breaking bug, me and my technology luck. But yeah, I just like the open-ended open world concept. And I really want to pick up Elden Ring. I just money, even though I just spent $20
You
on
just
V-Bucks
spent 20
last
fucking
night.
dollars on
Yeah,
Fortnite
you
last
spent
night.
20
Don't.
bucks on a
Last
skin.
night. That's different,
Jeez.
damn it. Casey and I both
Why is
got
that
stuff
different?
Yeah, why is that different, bro?
because Casey and I both got our skins out of it, and she loves Fortnite, and I love Fortnite.
You know what you would also like? Elden Ring.
I know.
But you know what you wouldn't like? Because it's a 2-pack of ass. 2, Donda, 2, ass.
Let's
That
talk
album
about
is
that.
Kanye should be sent
so-
to an island by himself in solitary confinement and think of his sins on the music industry for this one.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, so I mean, so essentially, Donda 2, I guess you could say released.
Allegedly.
I think we'll
We spent $200 on the album, so you guys didn't have to.
Yeah, there is a
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
A funny joke was going around.
Yeah, we won't make y'all spend. Just listen to ControllerCast. You don't have to spend $200 on this stem player ass.
Yeah, don't subject.
Yeah, and you can just
your ears to
imagine what that
bullshit.
album sounds like. But yeah, so I mean, I'm sure we'll have a review on this thing at some point. I don't know if it would be next week or whenever, because it seems like this is not the final version of the album. I don't know how you're supposed to review something like this. But what is it? Yeah, so the album kind of like debuted at this fucking live stream on Tuesday
that
night.
we were waiting on forever. We were just watching this stupid fucking heartbeat.
Yeah, we were hanging out waiting for it, but
yeah, we were waiting on it forever, and it literally started like 10 minutes after we left. And from what I heard, it sounded like, from what I gathered, it sounded like what Donda 1 sounded like, and it's like first listen where it just sounds like completely unfinished, and like I heard there was like one song that he literally had like an open spot on, like where like the beat just like wrote out for like 1 minute, and there's nothing but instrumental. It's like, did you like forget to put the fucking feature on here, you jackass?
I didn't even notice when I was listening. I probably just thought it was like an instrumental like interlude or some shit.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. It's just silence for a minute of a song.
Yeah. And the what is it? I heard the live stream was like a fucking mess, because like he got through the Donda 2 songs, but then I heard when they started doing Donda 1 songs, it's just like fucking terrible, because the audio was like not synced or whatever. And
yeah, I saw the clip of him getting pissed off and just chucking the mic into a fucking pool of water.
Yeah, he tried to rap Jail, and like it was offbeat, so like he just threw the fucking mic, brought out he for some reason decided to perform the version of Jail that has Marilyn Manson and the baby instead of Jay-Z. And then also then, oh my god, the Off the Grid one was so fucking funny.
That looked. I saw clips of that, and holy shit,
Yeah.
5-0, it was just going nuts.
Well, like there's a clip of like 5-0 trying to rap his part, but like obviously like the beat that he was hearing through his mic or earbuds or whatever was like off beat. So like it's like there's this fucking Twitter clip and
What
the
a
caption was like,
disaster, dude.
yeah, the Twitter clip the Twitter clip was like 5-0 forward going 1-1 against himself and off the grid and he's losing. Because it's like you'll hear like the clip is, if anyone, the two funniest clips I'm about to talk about right here, like that one, like you have to watch it because it's so funny, like 5-0 like trying his hardest to keep up with his own verse, and it's just you can't do it. Like, and then on top of that, Playboy Cardi also came out, which I guess, by the way, supposedly Playboy Cardi and Kanye are going to go on a tour together.
What?
Yeah, but Playboy Cardi came out and was literally just doing demonic screams.
Yeah, he was demon mode for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I found the video clip, and the tweet says me in the shower singing Off the Grid, and he's like a full like second behind his own fucking like verse. Like he can't even like keep up.
Here, I want to hear it real quick.
Okay, hold on. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta. Hey,
It's like if you gotta move, then you better.
He's like a full second behind himself, dude. That's his own verse. What a fucking jackass.
Oh god.
I wonder if he's like thinking like, damn, I went hard as fuck for that song. Now whenever I perform with the song live, I'm gonna have to like rap my ass off for like 3 minutes straight.
Yeah, somebody said that it sounds like them in the shower when they like can't keep up with like the fast lyrics while it's just like and like all the stuff about the fucking sound engineer like on Jail, they were like the only person going to jail tonight is Kanye's sound engineer.
Literally, dude. Kanye probably murdered that guy. Oh my gosh. And then Cardi, Cardi looking like a vampire, except he didn't. He just looked like literally he looked like he crawled straight out of hell.
Yeah, he looked like he was like, what is that, like something clown mafia? What is that band called?
Oh, Insane Clown Posse.
Oh yeah.
He looked like literally like if you go to any haunted house and go to like a clown room, yeah, that's what he looked like. Like some
He looked like one of the
ass-
teenage kids they put in the haunted house that like
Yeah.
paid like $8 an hour to be there.
Hey, you know
That doesn't even cover the makeup he has to use every night.
Yeah, the makeup looked like shit.
It's
It
so
was like-
funny that during this whole like Donda era, like the artist that Kanye has embraced the most is fucking Playboy Cardi.
Which is weird, but I mean, I feel like Kanye knows the future. He knows
King
the
Vamp.
future of
King
music.
Vamp turned him into a vamp.
King Vampire.
I mean, yeah.
He looked so weird, dude. I can't get over what Playboy Cardi looked like. He stole the show for me. Just screaming.
Look.
Kanye looked demon mode too, though.
Yeah.
Look, bro,
He was like-
why is City of Gods not on Donda 2? Like, I need to hear that mid fucking shitty song again, please.
New York City.
Awful.
I think, well, I'm gonna save some of the more specific thoughts on how he's doing this rollout for a little bit later, specifically with our main topic, because there's some similarities. But so Andrew, like, just give very general thoughts on the state of Donda 2 right now.
It literally sounds like when you make like a first draft of like a paper in school and it reads like absolute dog shit, you're just trying to like fill out the amount of stuff you have to like hit the page minimum.
Like
it's like
fucking
yeah, like when you're giving like a speech and there's a time limit and you're like that's what this album is like. Kanye is like trying to like fucking like fill out like a quota or some shit, because this shit sounds like a first draft. Like there's a bunch of songs that have V2s, and I don't know why he has two versions of the same song on an album, because that takes up like I mean, that takes up 4 tracks for 2 songs.
Andrew, would
Which-
you say the best song is Pablo? Ever?
No, I'd say the best song is probably Security, even though it has some pretty jank lyrics in it. But it's got a very black skinhead vibes because
That clip you sent me on TikTok, it sounded like a diet Jesus.
yeah.
Jesus.
There's just like, I don't know what something the album has a lot of issues, like where it just seems like very disconnected, because there's like random songs where he inserts like TikTok sounds in, and like he inserted a clip of Kim Kardashian from like 2 years ago, like praising him, like saying like, oh, I'm married to like the most successful rapper of all time. And it's like from 2 years ago, and they're like in the middle of a divorce, and that's like at the start of the fucking song, like it opens with that. And I'm like,
Kanye down bad.
and the main gripe I have with it is that the lyrics are so fucking bad in like every song. It's like it's like this dude, like, you know how people in like 2010 made fun of like Lil Wayne because he'd always be like, you know, look at the A and B and call that AB, like that kind of fucking format. But like Kanye's like, it's like he's trying to do that, but it's like he doesn't make it make any sense. Like he's like, yeah, like in Security, like one of the main lines he says is like, in the kitchen naked eating, like cooking grits. What is like what? Like I don't know. His lyricism fucking sucks now. He just needs to stick to producing beats. Like I'm pretty sure I've said that before, maybe not in the pod, but like to you guys, like after like when he released Yay, like I was like, this motherfucker just needs to stick to beats. Like your lyricism is ass now. It's so bad. It's like he's like forcing so many different things in the lyrics to happen. And I think that's what makes Donda 2 like, it's fucking awful. It's definitely the worst one he's ever put out.
Well, it's so funny because like I'm watching the Kanye documentary on Netflix, right? And it's like, bro, this dude is spitting bars in this documentary, and it's like, where the fuck is that? Where the fuck is that with Donda and yet like his new album? It's talking about like eating ass and all this shit.
And I think like I specifically think between Yeezus and our main topic, The Life of Pablo, his lyricism like took a total fucking shit. Like if you compare like a Yeezus to The Life of Pablo, like you can tell the lyrics take a fucking hit. And I mean, like in The Life of Pablo, one of the most iconic lyrics people took from it was, if I fuck this model and she just bleached her asshole and I get bleach on my t-shirt, now I feel like an asshole. It's like, dude, your lyrics suck ass now. Like, what the fuck is wrong with
That
you?
is an iconic line, though.
Like this guy goes from I know Ursula, I was watching I'm watching the documentary as well, and I think like the most iconic moment I've seen so far is when he was like rapping his verse on 2 words. And I was like, holy, like, fuck, I forgot how good that song is. And then I listened, like, when I was listening to Life of Pablo this week, I was like, yeah. Yeah, if I get bleach on my t-shirt, I'm going to be an asshole.
Well, I feel like Life of Pablo has like moments of cringe lyricism, but I feel like to me, I'll actually say I think it took a nosedive after that, like on Yay.
Yeah,
like Yay and Jesus is King.
I feel like
that's when it was like irredeemable.
Life of Pablo was like a turning point in his lyricism. It would probably be a better way to put it.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess speaking of the main topic, let's actually start talking about Life of Pablo proper. Jesus, I can't speak. Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, so just honestly, yeah, let's just get right into talking about Life of Pablo since we were kind of getting into that conversation anyways. Before the ad break, I'm gonna acknowledge the ad break. But yeah, like I think kind of Andrew, what you're saying, Life of Pablo is kind of like a turning point with like honestly like how if it feels like Kanye's like work ethic because I mean it felt like with the Life of Pablo, I mean Andrew, you and me are like, you know, we always like talk about like I feel like, you know, kind of artists that we're really into releasing. I remember us talking even about like Life of Pablo before it came out, because like it wasn't called Life of Pablo, it was called like fucking So Help Me God, then it was called Waves, and then it was called Swish.
Didn't he name it Wolves at one point too?
Yeah.
Turbo
Yeah.
graphics. I'm just kidding.
Oh, we
Turbo
don't even need
Graphics was
to.
the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, I mean, and then like also with it just felt like very kind of like put like thrown together, like he's just constantly changing shit, like super like off the whim. Um so I don't know, it was just like a very like hectic time as a someone who was interested in Kanye's music, like because he was just constantly changing the name. And just I remember he back when this album was coming out, he went on this crazy like Twitter like tirade, like just roasting a bunch of people. Like I remember Wiz Khalifa, like he roasted. But and then he premiered the album. I remember at Madison Square Garden, very similarly to how he's been doing with Donda and Donda 2. He did it in
Yeah,
front of a
this
live
one's a
audience.
iconic.
Yeah, and he did that. And if you guys remember, the album was actually a title exclusive. You remember when?
Yes.
I
Yeah,
do remember. I
I
had to
signed up for
download
a free
Tidal.
trial of Tidal.
Same.
yeah,
I think I accidentally even paid for a month of it.
I also forgot that the one of the names for it was Swish.
yeah. Swish. It's like what the
Swish.
fuck?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Life of Pablo is an iconic name now, I feel like. But what was I going with this? Oh yeah, and he was like talking about how it's never gonna be on Tidal. This album's never, or this album's only gonna be on Tidal. It's gonna be on Tidal forever. And then like 3 months later, it came out on everything else.
And by then,
Yeah.
everybody had heard it because just like the funny joke going around with Donda 2, people find a way around it. And if they find a way to make funny jokes, make their jokes heard by the world.
Yeah, it's only
Yeah,
a matter of time before Donda 2 will also be out on all streaming services.
yeah, for
Once it's
real.
actually finished.
Yeah. So I guess tell me about, maybe what your initial thoughts were for the album, and like maybe how your thoughts have kind of changed over time and where you stand now with the album generally, and then yeah, we'll kind of just go from there. I guess for me, like um I I really enjoyed the album when it first came out, but I'll be honest, like as time went on, like for a few years, I honestly kind of like thought the album was mid. Like where I kind of fell out of it really fast. I feel I feel like pretty much by the time we started college, which was like fall of 2016, like I don't know, this album was just like not in my rotation. It just kind of came and went really quickly. I think there's just also a lot of albums coming out that year with like Beyonce's Lemonade, Drake's Views, all in that same like 3 month time span as this album. But as I would say in the past year or two, I've come around to this album a lot more again, which I've kind of come back around to like how much I liked it when I originally heard it. And honestly, I really, really like the album, and I think honestly this is like Kanye's last good album. Um, where I mean, I think it's an amazing album, honestly. And it was crazy listening to it again this time, like in the past week, and being like, holy shit, bro, there are so many just like hitters on this thing. It's so many like I mean, just going off like off the track list, like I would say probably like the run from like Father Stretch My Hands to like bro, like the whole fucking album. But the run maybe to like Feedback, like that's a super hard hitting run, even Highlights. um I mean, honestly, I'm just like, I don't even know where to cut off like that run, like this where the run stops being good, because all these songs are honestly, in my opinion, like fucking awesome. And
Especially I Love Kanye.
yeah, especially I Love
Especially
Kanye.
Silver
Complete
Surfer.
meme.
Silver
Um,
Surfer Interlude's the best song.
yeah, but what are your what are your guys' kind of journey with this album in terms of your enjoyment with it?
I mean, I remember having the fucking download Tidal to listen to it for the first time, and then just trying to pull the updated versions either from Tidal or off of YouTube once my trial ended. I mean, there is a lot of anticipation building up to it, and I remember like this is when we worked at Hy-Vee, and like I would be like at work, and I'd be like when he was doing his live stream or his show at Madison Square Garden, I was like, holy shit, like it's coming any day now. And then it's like just keep waiting and waiting, and then it's on Tidal, and like, oh, I guess I'll wait until it comes out on other stuff, but I guess I'll get Tidal for now. But I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like the last good album he's put out, which I mean, it's not a very high bar to set or to jump, because everything since has been pretty mid. So you only have to be like slightly better than mid to get to being a good album recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like when I first listened to it, I want to say I thought like the first couple of listens, I thought it was mid, but then Casey and I both like just had this shit on repeat for like a straight month. And yeah, we had to download Tidal. We both had it on our phones. Like I said, I think I accidentally even paid for a month of it, which was bullshit. But I remember, didn't it have it had a few album updates, right? Where some of the songs would change.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being annoyed by that because like we had it on repeat so often that when it changed, like I wasn't hot on the changes. I think like didn't FML change? I want to say that.
Yeah, FML did change a little bit.
Like Wolves maybe.
Wolves changed the most.
I'm a fixed
Yeah.
Wolves.
I'm a fixed Wolves. I was like, no, don't do anything to it. But yeah, I mean, we definitely had a good phase with it. But similarly to you, Ursula, it kind of fell off our radar after like a month of straight listening to it. Kind of like for me, Dawn FM. Kind of similar in my album run. Like it was similar to that, where maybe the first couple of times I wasn't sure, except on FM I was sure, but on this one I wasn't too sure. And then like we had it on repeat all the time, and then it fell off. And then just recently, I think after Donda, I started coming back to it a little bit because I was like, what was the last Kanye project that I enjoyed? The Life of Pablo. And even listening to it this week, I think we listened to almost the whole album together this week. When we were waiting for Donda 2 to drop. And
yeah, we did. We listened to the whole album while we were waiting for that live stream.
And then after that, I listened to it like 3 or 4 more times this week. Not just because we were going to be talking about it before we even decided that we were going to talk about it, because Donda 2 didn't actually, the finished version of it didn't drop, and it's such a pain in the ass to listen to. We decided to review this instead, and I gave it a few listens before we even decided, because it's just, I was reminded about like how much I like it. And I think now it's back in my rotation a little bit more, even though it's from 2016. But it just takes me back. It takes me back to good times. I think that's part of the reason that I like it a lot too. Yeah. It's like 2016, there was like no stress basically.
Final semester of high school.
Yeah, like no stress. We were all vibing. But yeah, I mean, I think looking back, I didn't appreciate it as much because of like some of the Kanye albums that came before it, but because of some of the albums that have came after it, I think I appreciate it a lot more. But
yeah, and honestly, I feel like the album has aged like super, super well. Like it could come out today and it sound up to date. I feel like, not very dated. But one thing, I mean, that I think it was really interesting to talk about this album, and it's one I wanted to talk about on the podcast for a minute, is because it kind of started this trend of like, or maybe not a trend, it's not like every single person was doing it, but it opened up the gate to the idea that you could put out an album and what you put out on that album's release date is not necessarily going to be the finished product. And it opened up this whole thing of like artists adding on to their albums after the album's been out and changing songs and changing some of the mixings and things like that. And this was like at least, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is the first album I can think of that actually happened. And I'm not talking about like when an album adds deluxe songs, I'm talking like where the base version of the album is actually changing and shit like that. So I think that like
definitely the first I remember.
Yeah, and I think that's why I was kind of saying, like, saving it for like, kind of parallels like what's going on again with Donda 2. But I don't know, what do you guys think of this whole process? Because it's kind of like when do you consider a product like this complete? It's like a live service album instead of like a live service game.
Well, and I feel like most of it is also because, I mean, unless I'm forgetting one, this is like definitely like streaming's like first big album that came out. Because I mean, Apple Music launched in like what, August 2015, so like 4 or 5 months before The Life of Pablo came out on Tidal.
Yeah, this is when they were like every streaming service was doing like exclusives because I remember Apple Music had like Views, I think, right?
Mhm.
For
Yeah,
like a month.
Views was an exclusive for a bit.
Yeah, so I mean, it is interesting that that they, you know, it's kind of started that trend. I don't know many other albums that have done it besides like Kanye albums since.
Mhm.
But I know like it started a trend of like changing the final product, but like there was one artist that just kept releasing. Oh, Migos, when their latest
Oh,
album came out, they
yeah.
just kept releasing different versions of like songs, but they made them different albums.
Me go. It's
Which
like
I
they
mean,
didn't know how to upload, or like they didn't know how to
Offset's
technically
way.
do it.
yeah, like, and it's fine if you update it, but like sometimes the updates kind of suck. Like I wish Wolves still had Frank Ocean on it instead of Frank being his own track. Like
Yeah.
I wish there was a way to find the older versions of
They're
the
probably out
song.
there on like YouTube, but like that's not
Well,
ideal.
yeah, but like that's definitely not an ideal.
I actually have both versions of Wolves on my phone because of like because I had the old version downloaded. Like when the album
Oh
because when
shit.
we had to download it, before it was on Apple Music. So I actually have like two versions of this album on my phone, and one of them is like the older version, and one of them is the most, up to date version of the album. And there's some things I do like about that older version. Kind of like what Andrew was saying. Like I think he made Wolves worse by putting fucking Sia and Vic Mensa on it. I
I
actually like,
like Sia on it, but like yeah, the original version was better.
yeah, and like there's like a little even like an instrumental he added in the updated version where it's like right now when your mama knew how, and it's like this weird, like in the newest version there's like this drum buildup like dun, 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 dun,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I don't like that addition to the song. I like that the original version has like more of a steady kind of sound throughout the whole instead of like kind of these build-ups and like the features coming in. I like essentially like I like the original version of Wolves more, and like that one had Frank on it instead of like putting Frank on his own featured song that's like 45 seconds, like calling it Frank's track. Like
Yeah,
what?
what the hell?
So yeah, do you guys like like when this happens, or like what are you guys' thoughts on albums being updated, I guess?
I hate that shit, dude.
It's fine. Just I wish they just make the old versions more accessible.
Yeah,
I just feel like having multiple versions of an album, like let's say The Life of Pablo was updated 3-4 times. Like, do we want 4 versions of an album? Like, what would differentiate it? How would you even tell? Like,
Just make like a repository on their artist page, like change tracks or some shit.
patch
Like
notes.
yeah,
I say just fucking release the finished product and we'll never know the difference. I mean, like, I don't get it, honestly. I think it's stupid.
So like,
Um,
yeah, I feel like it's like a case by case basis because I thought for Life of Pablo it was fine, except that he like made Wolves worse. But for like Donda, bro, like no way the version that you're playing at like, supposedly like the Miami version, right? That Andrews listened to, or like even like the first time people heard Donda 1. It's like no way you were planning on putting that out as the finished product. And it's like almost sounds like he's like testing it out and playing it for people just so he can like it's like we're beta testing his fucking album.
yeah, literally. It's literally like a fucking video game.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this feature doesn't work that well. This feature sucks. This feature is really good. This version of the songs kind of has weird mixing. Version of the song is the instrumental's too low, and then
just
fucking,
crowdsourcing.
yeah, and then
Like,
Kanye
but
sees
he
all this
can't
shit.
tell. Like, he's one of the best producers out there, and he can't tell before it goes out. Or like, I don't know, test it out with your features. Have your features listen to the damn thing, and I don't know. I think it's
Yeah,
silly. And it annoys me because yeah, I thought the final product of The Life of Pablo wasn't as good as the original that I remember. But
Yeah. Oh, and then also I mean, the reason I'll actually finally say it, I'll say, not finally say it, but I'll say that the final version is better is because the final version has Saint Pablo as the closing track. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like when you originally hear the album, having Fade be the final song is like I don't know, like Fade doesn't really give me like closing track vibes. I could be wrong. What do you guys think about that?
I actually always kind of thought the order of songs was off for The Life of Pablo. And I don't know exactly what I would make the order. Um, I'd really have to like I'd almost have to write that shit down. But I always thought the songs didn't like I would have ordered them differently.
Like you don't think
Um,
it flows well?
as like this is an album I feel like I could put on shuffle and enjoy it the same exact way that I would going
Yeah.
track by track,
Hmm.
which is fine. Like I don't mind putting an album on shuffle, even though I know it's like sacrilegious in most cases. like Adele is not a fan of that. The Weeknd would not be a fan of that with like on FM. But like, um,
Well, guess what, Adele? We're not a fan of your album, so
yeah,
I don't
you
care.
had the worst overhyped album of 21. Stinky. I just thought I don't think it's a good like ending track either. I don't know what the best ending track would be. Probably St. Pablo after actually just listening to it this morning. The version I had for some reason didn't have it on there.
Yeah, San Pablo I think is a fantastic closing track. And it actually felt like when he added that, like the album was finally complete. But it was also like, why the fuck did it take you like 4 months to put this on? This is the final track of the
I had
album.
the YouTube leaked version of it on my phone for like months before it actually came on streaming.
That's so weird to me. Why do that? Just release the finished fucking product.
Yeah. I mean, even like like it would make more sense if like, a random song in the middle, like he didn't put in, like, I don't know, like fuck, let's just say facts. Like, like he didn't put facts in and he just added it on. But it's like, bro, how you not gonna have like the song that's clearly the closing track of the album on the album when it comes out? What the fuck?
All jokes aside, I think I Love Kanye would have been a funny closing track.
That
Like
would have
even
actually.
though it's an interlude, I can almost see it being like a nice little sprinkle on top for the
The
Yeah.
album
album.
just closes with, and I love Kanye, like Kanye loved Kanye.
I thought it'd be perfect. But yeah, I think the order of the tracks is just completely off. I don't know why. When I listen to it, it just doesn't feel as flowy as it should.
It is
Maybe the
funny.
first half, but the second half,
It
not.
is funny how every day, like the song, the interlude, I love Kanye, like just gets more and more true. Where you're
I know.
like every day he just acts like a wild dickhead online.
I thought it was funny at the time too, because it was like he was acknowledging who he is a lot and like really I mean he put it out there in a song, but now he's like I feel like he's forgot about I Love Kanye.
Yeah, and
Remember I Love Kanye. Yeah. Go back
I
to that, remember it, and take a look at yourself in the mirror.
and I feel like with Life of Pablo, like I feel like he kind of caught like lightning in a bottle where like him being super like indecisive and just like like the sound of the album all has this like very John, kind of how you were saying, like the structure of the album, like it doesn't flow very well. I feel like that's almost like, this is gonna sound weird, like, but almost like intentional, like where the songs even themselves, they feel like very like jumpy and like unorthodox in their structure. It's not like a normal like chorus or what was verse hook bridge hook finish.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
um like I feel like it adds to like some sort of like weird aesthetic of this album, of this like kind of unorthodox jumpy kind of like a little more experimental sound too, with like some of the beats and like how he's structuring songs.
Even the
um
album cover kind of
yeah,
hints at
yeah,
that too.
but I felt like it kind of like worked, it was just one of those things where there was this X factor where it just kind of came together and worked. And I feel like he's been like being like, oh, this worked for like Life of Pablo, where I can just be like this like obnoxious asshole, and just like update my album and like make it super like weird and like weird in like a good way, like experimental and like disjointed and disconnected and all work out because everyone like Life of Pablo is awesome, and it's like I feel like it has just not been working anywhere near as well as it did on Life of Pablo.
I feel like it was very polarizing at the time, like the idea that someone would update their album and like I'm sure it got his streams up because I would listen to each version. Anytime there was an update, I would throw the album back on. But yeah, it's definitely like, I don't know. I feel like it's an old idea at the beginning of streaming, and people should fucking stop. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, it was a fine idea, and he caught lightning in a bottle because he actually didn't release an album that was dog shit like he is now and doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, at least Donda 2 in its current state is not on streaming services because it eventually will be, but like it's probably a good thing it's not. But I don't know. I feel like with the Life of Pablo doing it, it definitely I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't as weird at the time because this idea of streaming primarily was kind of new anyway. And I almost was like, wow, this is going to be like a thing. You don't have to release a physical
cloud.
Yeah, because you don't have to release your album physically as the only way. Like in the early 2000s and shit, like that was the only way to release your album was on a CD or on a vinyl.
They had no choice. Yeah, people had no choice.
Yeah, you wouldn't release two versions of an album unless it was a deluxe.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of mirrors like even like how games work. It's like the reason why games can get updated now is like we can download games and we can do all this shit. But back in the day, it's like the second a game goes gold, that's it. Like that's the game. Whatever bugs and whatever the fuck like is on there.
Exactly. The idea that albums could have like bugs. Like the Life of Pablo just had too many bugs.
Like
version 1.3.
Version 1.0.1.
Yeah. Like we're getting patch notes. Yeah, Apple Music start adding the patch notes tab for album releases. Like at the bottom you can see on this date on version 1.6 artist added hi-hats to security.
That'd be really interesting. Like, well, even you can see when the album was released, and this version of The Life of Pablo shows June 10th of 2016, but it was dropped
the actual release date.
Yeah. So weird. Yeah, but Kanye hasn't done that well since The Life of Pablo. I don't even think it was done well at that time. It was just like a new idea.
Yeah, and Andrew, like I want to kind of get tell me if you kind of share the same sentiment, but it's like I feel like now it's just like he's going too far with it. Like like he's just like releasing an album that just literally is like completely unfinished. At least Life of Pablo, like with maybe the exclusion of Saint Pablo not being the final track, like you could honestly take Life of Pablo as its own, like the starting version, and that would still be a solid album,
Yeah.
But like Donda and Donda 2, it seems like even more so. It's just like dude is releasing, like just do you think he's taking it too far with the process?
Yeah, it's almost like maybe like he has like a manic episode and then he's like, fuck, whatever shit I can scrap together on my hard drive, I'm gonna put it out as a release so I can ride the hype train for me acting like a fucking psychopath online.
All my throwaway tracks.
It like goes to like the folder that's like unreleased, like do not touch under any circumstances, and he's like, let's drop it, fuck it, I gotta ride the wave of me acting like a fucking mental patient.
This shit sucks, drop that.
Kanye be in the studio like, this shit sucks, let's drop it.
Yeah, well, I'm attacking Pete Davidson, so I guess I should drop an album too.
We should ask Skeet about his stuff.
Yeah, what does Skeet think about the album?
I wonder if he was a Kanye fan, legit, like a fan of his work at least.
I mean, he's probably a fan of his wife.
Yeah, well, just think about this, dude. It's funny. Kim probably like can't listen to Kanye's music anymore. Like, Ugh, I don't know.
Well, she's not
That's a
missing
tough
much.
situation. Yeah. That's a tough situation.
Maybe she's listening to I Love Kanye,
Maybe.
talking about how she misses the old Kanye.
I miss
Maybe
the old Kanye.
I can just imagine her sitting in like some diamond bedroom, crying
Diamond
to I Love Kanye.
encrusted bedroom.
Yeah, crying to I Love Kanye. It's just hitting her in the feels
I could see it. Just
While-
on repeat.
while she's getting piped down by Pete Davidson.
Skeet. Skeet skeet.
But going to something John mentioned earlier, before the show started, so we got to talk about it. With the album title, Life of Pablo. Who is Pablo?
Who is Pablo? And I think this could be referring to a couple of different things. I mean, I looked this up on Rap Genius because I was curious, like what the thought was from Kanye. And what I'm gaining is that he sees himself as a student of Escobar and Picasso. Escobar of the sneaker game, apparently, because at this time, like, Yeezys were starting to get big. I've always wanted a pair of Yeezys, but they're so fucking expensive, and I'm white.
Don't care, didn't ask.
But it also says the Picasso of the music game. But I feel like I'm not familiar enough with Pablo Picasso. Like, I know he's an artist, but like, I don't know if I'm familiar enough with him and like who he is as a person to be able to like really connect those dots. I guess
Kanye, he's like an all-timer as an artist.
Yeah, he must have been the first artist to like, send his painting to that fucking glass triangle museum in Paris. Then he like makes like a weekly trip to go update his painting when it's hanging in the art museum. He just goes and just updates it.
Well, there's a song off Donda too called it's called fucking Pablo. I've heard like the hook of it where it's like, who they waiting on? That's Pablo.
Pablo. Well, I just think it's funny that he compares himself to Pablo. And when the album was first rolling out and I figured out that it was dropped, the name was dropped, I was a little like, who is Pablo? Like, why? Like, why is it Pablo? But yeah, I think it's just that, I think in the end, it's like Pablo Picasso was just one of the biggest artists of his time. And I think that's like, at the end of the day, it's just that simple that Kanye is like the biggest music artist of his time. Definitely one of the most polarizing. I think Kanye is definitely the most polarizing musician that's out. Like, yeah.
I think that's an understatement.
Yeah. Like that Netflix special, I'm excited to watch it because he is such an interesting person.
Yeah, and like watching that documentary, it's just such a weird dichotomy because like you can see he's like it's his early days before he really made it, and like like it's just crazy watching that compared to like how he operates now.
Yeah, like now he's a billionaire and he is mad. He's fucking mad, but he's convinced he's not like crazy. He's trying to convince everyone that he's woke in every way possible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy the earth.
I'm gonna buy the earth.
Oh, I know that's cut, but that is a hilarious TikTok. I'm gonna buy the earth.
How much does the earth cost? I'm gonna buy the earth.
I wonder if he's still planning on running for president.
I'm gonna run when I run for president in 2024. Well, what's so funny?
Yeah, Kanye is president. I mean, at this point, fuck like me. Anybody.
I forgot what his logo was. Oh, wasn't his like fucking logo like Vision 2020?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Keep the vision. Yeah, but like
so weird.
I guess kind of. I mean, talking about how great. I mean, at least I think how great this album is. Let's kind of get into some of the songs really of the album. I mean, and songs and the features because I think that they really do go hand in hand because I mean this thing has a lot of a lot of features. Like just gonna run through them real quick. Chance the Rapper, The Dream, Kid Cudi, Designer, Rihanna, Young Thug, Chris Brown, Weekend, Ty Dolla $ign, Vic Mensa, Sia, Frank Ocean, Andre 3000, Kendrick Lamar, Post Malone, Ty Dolla $ign, and Sampha. Which I know a lot of people didn't know that. That what is it? That some of those features are in there because they're honestly kind of like hidden up. But yeah, like I guess what starting off with like Ultralight Beam. What do you think of that as like a starter, Andrew?
I think it's a fine starter. It's definitely not my favorite song on the album.
It's definitely one of my least favorite songs on the album.
Yeah, same. But I mean, if I don't really ever understand how artists come to like unless it's like Dawn FM where it's like a coherent project. It's like how do you decide which one to start off with?
Yeah, I feel like maybe it sets. Well, it doesn't even like set the tone. Like I feel like Ultralight Beam is kind of like a weird like one-off track, and like for some reason I know a lot of people would be like, "This is the best song of the album," and I'm like,
okay, you fucking nerd.
Yeah, and like the last good fucking verse that Chance the Rapper ever dropped.
Yeah, I actually like Chance the Rapper and Ultralight Beam too.
Yeah, and it's
but
like
the vibe of the song definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think it matches any of the album.
Yeah, the best line on that song is when Chance the Rapper says, "I met Kanye West. I'm never gonna fail." Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
gestures at.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Hot
Chance
water,
the Rapper.
hot shower.
Yeah. Chance the Rapper, you are not Nostradamus. The opposite actually. But then I mean, the early run I think is really great. But like I mean, Father Stretch My Hands Part 1 and Part 2, which it's funny that the second like
Part 2 is just Panda.
It's just called
Part 2 is just Panda.
Yeah, and it's just called Part 2. Like and it's but yeah, like how I feel like this song has also like stood the test of time really well. Like there's so many memes of like, if Young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you. Beautiful born. Like there's still like
literally on TikTok, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like there's like people still use it all the time, and I feel like
beautiful morning.
Yeah. Well, the question is, what part do you guys like, Part 1 or Part 2 more?
Part 1.
Part 1 for sure.
Yeah, Part 1. I had to ask because I had a friend who used to always like, that was his like hot take of the album, I guess. Like he was always like, bro, Part 2 is way better than Part 1. Like Part 2 is way better.
Nah, Part 1 is definitely better, but I mean, maybe it's also because we heard Panda 1,000 times after this album came out.
True.
So I don't know.
And it's funny how Panda, the song itself, became popular. Like, not this version, but I mean, I guess this version's like pretty fucking out there. Like, it's very strange. Like, yeah, fucking Panda. Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Designer?
Where is he at?
Washed.
And why did his song Outlet have like one of the best beats of all time, and then the lyrics are just ass?
Yeah.
Ass.
I think it's just funny how Designer like couldn't get a sentence out without like laughing his ass off and just, yo man, ah!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he would just like insert his ad libs into every sentence.
And you can't even tell what he's saying half the time. That's the funniest part.
Well, it's funny because that Future ended up executive producing Donda, because I remember like hearing that like Future was like fucking pissed when he heard like Designer, because he was like, bro, what the fuck, this dude just literally just copied my sound. Literally just sounds like me.
He stole my sound.
Yeah,
I remember that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wonder if he ever made a diss song on him. And then from there, I mean, we get like Famous, which is like a really good Rihanna feature, I feel like.
Yeah.
And they in that song they sample like probably like one of my like top 5, top 10 favorite songs, which is like Bomb Bomb by
Bomb Bomb.
Yeah, I fucking love that song so much.
I love that little switch and famous. It's actually I would say it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. I don't know why. It's just like it's so good. And Rihanna on it. And Rihanna hasn't put out anything good since she's been on Life of Pablo, I feel like.
Well, I don't think she's put out a song since Life of Pablo.
Yeah, was her latest album before or after it? I can't remember.
That was like literally that was another album that came out in the like that 2 to 3 month span. Like we got a lot of albums in the first like 5 months of 2016.
Yeah, it was 2016. Probably anti. Yeah, it came out right before Life of Pablo, so this was the last Rihanna track.
Well, I guess we got Wild Thoughts.
Yeah.
About Wild Thoughts.
I forgot about Wild Thoughts, DJ Khaled.
And
and Loyalty on Damn.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So
and then I mean Feedback is also great. I mean, Andrew, do you want to jump in? Like
yeah, I mean, honestly, like, well, my favorite track is Freestyle 4. And even though it's incredibly short, it's probably the hardest hitting one, probably one of the few ones I'll actually listen to like outside of the album.
Yeah, you know it's funny, Andrew? Like I fucking love Freestyle 4, and
it's such a you guys track.
But everyone I know besides Andrew and I like fucking hates this song.
It's not
Dude, it's so good.
It would probably be in my bottom half for the album.
Like,
dude,
who the fuck
so
right now?
good.
Who the fuck right now?
Yeah.
What if we fuck right now in the middle of this motherfucking dinner table?
Yeah, yeah. Like it's just like, and then when the beat drops, like the beat drops hard, and it's just like,
yeah, like
living like half of your level, half of your life.
Yeah, it has like this like ancient Egypt ass beat in the background at the first half.
Yeah, bro, I love Freestyle 4 might actually have like the most plays out of any song on this album for me.
Same.
But it's just so
I could
obnoxious.
Look at that easily.
And then even not Future, Jesus Christ, Designer comes in for like 15 seconds, and then it's like down.
Freestyle 4 is mid. It's definitely a you guys song.
Yeah, well, give us your take on Freestyle 4, John.
It's just like so it's just like wild. It's too much for me. I don't know.
Fuck right now.
Yeah, it's like not very. It's fine that it's not super like musical to me. Like it's
too experimental.
No, it sounds more like an interlude to me than anything. And then it's followed by another interlude.
Surfer.
There's a lot of short tracks on the album.
Yeah, the worst run on this album is 6 to 9 because it's like 3 interludes back to back besides and with highlights just stuck in the middle of there.
Yeah. Freestyle 4 definitely feels like an interlude to me.
What do you guys think
why you guys like it so much?
What do you guys think of Feedback? Because I think that's a pretty hard-hitting rap song, like just pure rap song, and I love the like whole Oprah Winfrey, like you the ghetto Oprah, you get a jet, big booty bitch for you.
I like the like beat of it. It's really weird and different.
Yeah, it's like an off-kilter beat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's like
the beat's iconic.
Y'all had a good snooze.
Yeah, I love that line too.
The only thing I don't
wake up. We about to get this paper.
The only thing I don't like about Feedback is that like I feel like he says that hook like 7 times in the span of like 3 minutes.
Yeah, like y'all sleeping on me, huh? Had a good snooze.
That one part he just repeats it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's honestly not that great because like, he does do that a lot.
The retrospective hype.
Yeah.
That song specifically.
The song that I actually feel like kind of falls under the radar in the first half, but I think is actually really good. I mean, what would I consider the first half? Like probably up till like I Love Kanye. Like Highlights. I actually really like Highlights and like Young Thug's like feature in Highlights, and there's a lot of good lyrics, and even that like me and Ray J are like me and Ray J would be friends. We didn't love the same bitch.
And then he does like the nice little flex of how many Grammys he's won and shit.
Yeah.
Lots of hands in that song. Sounds very Kanye. It sounds like early Kanye.
Had a good snooze. Hey.
I wish my dick had GoPro. Like, but that's a song where it's like the structure is like very unorthodox, and I feel like it comes together really well, like with the Young Thug, and even at the end where it's like, I need every bad bitch up at Equinox. I need to know if you're freaking not.
There's a lot of songs in this that feel like there's a lot of beat switches and they're kind of slapped together, but like this is one of the really good ones.
Yeah. What do you think of highlights, Andrew? Like because we're kind of in the scheme of like the grand scheme of like the first half of the album.
I mean, the intro part of it, like I skip. Fuck that. The intro's so bad.
The intro is the worst part.
The intro makes me almost skip the song too. It's like,
yeah, like every time I hear it, like I know the actual song itself is good, but like anytime I'm like scrolling through like my just shuffling my library and I hear I fucking skip that shit. Get that dog ass out of here.
Yeah, and yeah, honestly, yeah, it's so funny how the intro, like I'm like audibly averse to that intro. Like it'll come on if for some reason I can make it through that intro when I'm hearing the song like on shuffle, then I'll probably like hear out the rest of the song. But like if I hear the first like yeah,
dude, seriously, it's just like, oh, I'm skip.
Yeah, that's like one of the worst like opening 5 seconds of song ever.
And then Low Lights is an immediate skip right before it too.
Yeah.
One of the 7 interludes in the album.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about I Love Kanye, so then I guess we kind of get into the second half of the album with which kind of a mid to me, kind of a mid start. Like, I don't know, Waves just sounds like it's like kind of to me like the most generic sounding song on the whole album.
Yeah, and it's got Chris Brown on it, so it's an immediate skip.
I love Waves. Like I actually really like Chris Brown on it too, even though I hate Chris Brown. I hate him as a person. I even hate listening to his music, but this is one of my favorite tracks on the album.
I know a lot of people that love it. Like you're probably in the majority, like for thinking that, honestly.
No lie. When you don't lie, baby. Dude, it's just like even Chris Brown is so good. And the sun don't shine in the shade. I mean, like it's simple, but it's just it's like a happy sounding song. I really like it.
Yeah, I remember one of my friends, he was like obsessed with Waves. Like he I don't know why I have so much anecdotal like this friend about this album, but like
it was like it just came out at a good time, I feel like.
Yeah, like but in like college, like one of my friends, he'd like always like put the song on and just like rap it. Like I'm like, bro, the raps aren't even that hard on the song.
Sun don't shine in the shade.
Like
don't fly in a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, birthday fly in
a cage. Like dude's acting like he's spitting bars right now. Like, how about you go rap no more parties in LA and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
But then going from there, now I'm gonna say, and I'm about to give my hot take of the album. With the FML, I think the Weeknd's feature in the song is mid.
I think this song would be dog ass if the Weeknd wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was. Bro, I think Kanye is the best part of the song, and I think the Weeknd is the worst part of the song.
I actually like Kanye's bars in the song a lot, but I mean, the Weeknd just sounds so good in it. It's like one of his best sing-songy, like his lyric or his vocals are just so good in it. Like Casey and I would have this song if we were gonna pick a song or two out of the album to listen to one off, it would be that 2-track run, Waves and FML. I love FML, but like there's such stark contrast to each other. I would almost argue that Waves is like the end of the first half because it's such a stark, but like
actually, yeah, that probably is a good cutoff, honestly.
But it's also like so slapped together.
The first half is more like positive, I feel like, or a little more upbeat, you know?
Yeah, and then Kanye like goes off the deep end a little bit.
Yeah, that actually is a really good split, John. Cutting it off at Wolves. I mean, it makes sense. It's a 20-track album, and track 10 is the end of the first half. Shocker.
Yeah, right. But there was only 19 tracks initially, so
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, my favorite part of FML is the second half of it. Where it's like where like Kanye's like, don't stop your love it.
I love that part. Don't stop your loving.
It does have a good outro.
We love you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love that's like my favorite part of the song. And like I love like I mean the first, don't get me wrong, the first part is still good. I just think the weekends, like I think the reason I think the weekends feature is like all right is because usually, especially around this time, the weekends features were heat. And like just getting a hook was like kind of substandard for the weekend. Like usually back around that here this time, and most weekend features, you're usually getting a hook and like a verse. You
Like
know?
he'd take over the fucking song.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like I would have loved to see like a weekend verse on this thing, you know? So that's why it's just like, oh, like I mean the hook is I thought fine, but I don't know.
I think Kanye knows that the weekend will easily take over a song, so he only gives him hooks. I don't know.
Unless it's
I
Hurricane.
like his hook a lot. The
Unless it's
Hurricane
Hurricane.
hook is better. Hurricane. hook.
Yeah. Hurricane is I think his feature on Hurricane is better than his feature on FML.
Yeah. But I do like the FML feature a lot.
Yeah, and then we get into Real Friends, which is like honestly like I think I'd like a lyrically a really good song, and I do like enjoy listening to it. And I think like Ty Dolla Sign always kills it on features. And like but I think Kanye has some like I think like the second half of this album is like pretty personal, and I think like this is like kind of like the start of showing that like you know like there's a lot of introspection on the second half where I mean he's talking about how like when he's famous like people will just like try to pretend like they're his homies and then just hit him up for favor, and like his family would like stole his fucking laptop and tried to like blackmail him and all sorts of crazy shit. It's like damn bro, like you just get surrounded by like fake fuckers at the top.
The little cut in the middle with that one, like I don't even know where it's like that one little sample of the song that's just like thrown in the middle.
Real Friends, I'm trying to
Or maybe I'm thinking of a different song.
John, do you know? Maybe I'm just not remembering it.
I'm not sure either.
Whatever the one he's talking about where his cousin stole his laptop and then it cuts to a sample.
Oh, he talks about that on Real Friends, but also I think No More Parties in LA. Oh, are you talking about the sample where it's like I just keep on yeah. But then now we talk about the song that was the biggest culprit of the live album, the live service album.
The worst version.
Yeah. Andy, what are your thoughts on the updated version of Wolves? Or I guess what are your thoughts on Real Friends first?
Real Friends is another one where I hear the start of the beat on shuffle and I skip that shit. I feel like this album has a problem with like the start of the song like just sounding like fucking ass.
I need to hear the beginning of Real Friends. Hold up.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean it's a fine,
it's like a middle tier song in the album.
Yeah, it's like a mid song on this album. But like Wolves is infinitely worse after he updated it and took Frank and made Frank his own track. That was such a stupid idea. That's another one. That's another one I hear the ooh. Skip.
I really like Sia on this one though. Like I was happy to see her on
God
it,
no. Sia's
feature is
hard.
awful, dude.
Bro.
Sia fell off so hard.
Sia herself is not a good artist, so like her.
No! Oh god, I'm a Sia stan, bro. I'm a Sia stan.
When was the last time Sia put out a song? Like 2016. This song.
2018, I think, with her Christmas album. 2016.
Oh well, you know, bro. Not everyone on this podcast is a Christian, dude.
You know, they're not even like that. They're not. She did have another.
Even religious.
She actually put out an album last year in 2021, but it's called like Music.
No,
I guess.
Don't care.
Oh, that's the album that
she
got canceled. Oh yeah, she got canceled over that album.
Really?
Because it's based off the movie Music that she directed, and I heard that movie was like extremely offensive to people on the autism spectrum.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that controversy.
Oh, I I must have let that
This
fly
is not an
over my head.
ableist podcast, so
Yeah. I
yeah,
must
we
have
do
let that
not
one fly over
we
my
do
head.
not condone the actions of Sia.
We do not.
John's views do not represent the views of ControllerCast LLC.
Yeah, for
I like
making
Sia's music, damn it. That is
Sia.
it.
Yeah, Sia made being on the spectrum cringe, so she got canceled.
What the hell? I
What
must
a
have
wild
missed all of
sentence to
that.
say.
Okay, well, I guess Sia's feature sucks now. I don't.
I mean, her
like Sia's
features suck. Oh, but even worse than Sia's feature, Vic Benson's feature on this thing is fucking terrible.
I don't even remember it, honestly.
Like, God, I'm trying to remember it, but like it's so like a lyric from it because it's so forgettable and awful. Like, don't lose yourself.
Oh yeah.
God, that shit is.
I know how it goes. I don't know the lyrics of it. Though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Frank really,
Definitely
or
don't
not. Kanye really was like, "Damn, I got a song with Frank. Let me take Frank off and put Sia and Vic Mensa on it."
I wonder
then-
what the like idea of that was. Like, I guess to give Frank almost like
His
it
own
was to
spotlight?
give him his own track, but like all you did was disservice Frank Ocean, honestly.
Yeah, and
You
like
put him on a 40-second track.
the thing that makes Sia's verse even worse is she sounds like she's like speaking in cursive while she's like singing. Like she like never finishes formulating the words she says. She just carries them on to the next word.
Yeah, she does kind of.
I was lost down. Like, bro, come on, put some spaces between there, you dumb bitch.
You're too wild. You're too wild.
Halsey does the
Yeah.
same thing. Halsey sings in cursive.
I love both of them
Oh.
too for their music. Halsey, I don't think has been canceled though. I think she's actually like
just canceled
just
for being
obnoxious.
shit.
yeah. She's
Well-
just she's a big feminist, so she probably won't get canceled anytime soon unless she does something crazy. Like make fun of autism like Sia apparently did. I must have let that go way over my head. Dude, I don't remember that at all.
What
Canceled.
if you're just making it up? Okay.
You might be. I figured you wouldn't do that on air though.
Yeah, no,
Even
no,
if we
no,
made
I'm
it
not
up, the fact that you believe it's believable, says something.
No,
about
I
your
can't
Sia
even believe
fandom.
it. I can't even believe it. Like that's so weird to me.
Hold up. Oh yeah. This movie has a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Jesus.
Sia directed it, and
Oh, what?
the critics' consensus is offensive in its depiction of autism and painfully misguided in essentially every respect. Music is a vanity project that begs to be turned down.
Holy shit.
fuck! A fucking 7%.
Jeez.
A budget of $16 million and it made $645,000.
Ouch.
That's like,
Dude, I'm looking like I know this isn't a Sia podcast, but I'm looking at like her best tracks or most popular on Apple Music, and that album has like nothing even close to that. It's all at the bottom. Jeez.
fell off,
Yeah, I guess so.
canceled.
If I was the movie studio that greenlit that movie, I would probably sue Sia. Honestly.
Honestly, yeah.
For defamation.
But
But
yes, in conclusion, Sia's feature is mid.
yeah, the best part of Wolves to me is the beginning where like Kanye's like, lost it, found out, turned out how it thought, like where he has got that like
You're too
auto-tune on it.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, you too. If Daddy knew how turned out, like I love that part. That's my favorite part of the song.
And then Frank's track is just a Wolves Part 2 interlude. On the
Yeah,
final version
it's
anyway.
literally just a feature that just got its own fucking song. I mean, I love Frank's feature on, but it's like, why the fuck would you make it its own song? It's
Doesn't make
literally
sense.
like 40 seconds.
Yeah, take out Sia, I guess. Just take out why did they
Vic
change-
Mensa and Sia, just
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
did
get
you
him out of
change it?
here.
Andrew, what do you think about Frank's track?
I think it's the second best song on the album.
40 seconds. 40
Yeah.
seconds.
But
All
not
the
as
best
good
songs
as
are the shortest, though. All the best songs are always the shortest.
yeah, except Silver Surfer interlude. or should I say Silver Surfer interlude?
You know, that
Out
was
the
actually one
fucking
of the
title.
that was actually one of the changes made to the album was adding all the extra I's and the extra E's and the extra F's. Because when the album
Isn't it
first
just
came
like a
out,
call? Isn't it just like a voicemail or
Silver.
something?
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
voicemail.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Easy. I just heard the news or whatever.
yeah, and I have both of the versions of that on my fucking phone. So sometimes I'll see Silver Surfer, or I'll just see Silver Surfer intermission.
Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer intermission is a phone conversation between rappers Max B and French Montana.
French Montana.
Back when
Name one
Kanye's
French
seventh album
Montana
was
song.
named Waves.
Name one French Montana song. I dare you. That's
Yeah.
no features.
Also, just quick reminder for everyone that Frank Ocean is one of the best lyricists ever. I mean, just even like it's just like looking at the lyrics, bro. For Frank's track is just like a fucking poem. I don't know, and there's like I mean, just even there's this like one line that I've always loved where he's talking about like black into dark out. I'm mixed now, fleshed out. There's light with no heat. I don't know. He's just so good with words. But moving on from that one.
Haikus.
Yeah, haikus. Frank's a poet.
The poet, man.
Going back to the track list though. I mean, now we're kind of in the final stretch of the album. 30 hours, forgettable. It's just Kanye like talking about how he's a fucking simp.
Yeah,
Drove
driving 30
hours.
hours. Ultimate down like
Goofy
not
track.
even down like down catastrophically, like down traumatically down bad. Like, I mean, bro,
Whip.
30
Whip.
hours
Kanye whipped.
down catastrophically. And he's never recovered since.
No, he hasn't. Kim destroyed Kanye? Question mark.
No, I think this is back from when he was like younger.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how he would drive 30 hours and then he pulled up to her place one time and she was like blowing some dude and then he drove back 30 hours.
Blowing skeet.
Yeah, this is probably very it's funny how so many of Kanye's old songs fit to his current circumstance.
Yeah, 30 hour. He's literally like a fortune teller in his own work.
Nostradamus. The worst part about this song is the last like 2 minutes of the song are just like dead space where the beat just rides out. Like, and it's just like, okay.
Oh, and he's like just talking like normal words at one point, and it's
yeah.
I gotta find what he says on the outro.
Yeah. It's a sweet.
And there's like a ringtone in the song, and I always think it's my phone. Like whenever
he gets
I would
a phone
hear
call during the middle of
yeah, it's like the marimba or whatever it's called, the iPhone ringtone.
Yeah, I'm like, bro left a phone call in there.
Yo, that's Gabe calling. Yo, Gabe, I'm just doing an ad-lib track now. What's up?
Only Kanye, dude. Only Kanye.
But from there, probably honestly one of the best tracks on the album to me, and potentially like current Kanye's like fucking hardest hitting like fucking rap song like in the past like 10 years. And like the perfect showcase of like when he's a rapper, like how good he can rap is fucking No More Parties in LA. Like him and Kendrick go fucking demon mode on this fucking track, bro. Like even Kendrick's like spitting like some bars and some like good quotables like Instagram is the best way to promote some pussy.
Shake that body that body.
Yeah, shake that
scary.
Shake that body that body. Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs on the album, and honestly I think it's one of the best songs of the second half of Kanye's career. I think this song goes fucking hard.
It's just crazy. Any song with LA in it is an automatic banger. Like Escape from LA.
Yeah. But if I really had to throw a criticism, and this is like not even a criticism about the song, honestly, is that it is a long song. And I mean, like when he's like 3 minutes into like his 5-minute rap verse, it's like, holy shit, bro, this is going crazy. But also like he's been rapping like this for like 3 minutes straight. But I mean that's not even a knock. That's just a different way to look at it, I guess. But I think this song's like fucking amazing.
The other thing
that's one of the best rapping in the whole album, I think.
The other thing that's funny about it looking back is the guy he samples in the song is Drake's dad.
Oh,
Like
really?
in that little interlude. Yeah, Larry Graham.
Oh, wow. Oh, like like when he's like, I just keep on
Yeah,
loving you.
that's Drake's dad.
That's funny. I
Yeah,
like
that
the Kendrick feature too.
Yeah,
He
it
kills
is
it,
good.
obviously. But yeah, there's definitely the best lyricism, I think, or like definitely the best rapping in this song out of
yeah.
all of
This song though, also the next song I think is one of the worst songs on the album.
them.
Facts,
Best
Charlie Heat.
followed by worst.
Yeah, Facts, Charlie Heat version is literally just a like weird fucking interpolation of Jumpman. That's pretty much the song. I mean, literally, it's like the fact that like literally Drake and fucking Future have writing credits on the song because of the fact that it just interpolates the fuck out of Jumpman.
Do anybody feel bad for Bill Cosby? That's literally in the song. I don't know why I remember that
Easy, easy,
line
easy.
specifically.
Just jump over, Jumpman.
Jumpman? It's kind of a fun track. I don't know. I don't hate it.
The lyrics are kind of funny.
Yeah.
Did he
The
forget
lyrics
the
are funny.
names just like Steve Harvey?
Yeah, it's a good example of like Kanye being really funny on like lyrics and how fucking rap is funny as fuck in general. But I don't know. I think the song's like kind of uninteresting because it is so similar to Jumpman.
Yeah, it's pretty mid.
And then we finally get into the original closing track of the album, which is a terrible closing track, but I think a kind of a fun song on its own right.
Your love is fair.
Yeah, I do enjoy the song like in its own right. Not a great closing track though, and also like one of the first like I don't know. Did you guys know that Post Malone was on the song? I know a lot of people are like surprised when I
I did
mentioned
not
that to them.
actually.
Yeah, I did. He sounds pretty good in it, and the beat to me though is so interesting. Like I don't get. It's like boom, 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 ba doo 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 doo. It's got to be sampled from somewhere.
Have you guys seen the music video for this song?
Yeah, I have.
No, actually, what is
Make you
Post
hot and
Malone
heavy.
in the music video?
No, but it's definitely. I think you and Casey should like sit down and watch the music video for the song together.
I need to.
I think you guys would really like it.
Yeah, that sounds like Cap. That sounds
It'll
like
get you.
Cap.
It'll make you guys want to go and like fuck afterwards.
Oh God. Your
But
love is fade.
your love is fade. And then finally we get into, I mean, yeah, Fade, there's not much to talk about. It's like kind of like a weird dance track almost. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a closing track. It's a bad one.
but then also something that I think that really pulls this album together at the end of the day is the final song, Saint Pablo, which is like kind of like what me and A were saying, one of the best songs on the album. And it's kind of a shame that I got added on after the fact because it's a fantastic closer. I think it might be like probably my favorite Kanye closer or one of them. I think it's a great closing track, and it kind of like I feel like brings a lot of the themes of the album together with like family and fame. Really like that's kind of like what I feel like this album's about, like balancing your family, like how he's a family man now and he has kids, and like there's responsibilities that come with that with like the all the stuff that comes with being famous. And I think this album is fantastic, and Sampha has a great feature, and there's a lot of like great Kanye big head moments of like fucking what's the Einstein line, Andrew? Like, do you fucking remember it? Like
No.
this generation's Einstein.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't, I mean, I'm fine or some shit. But
This generation's closest thing to Einstein. Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of the closing track? Maybe John, start off with you because you literally just heard it.
I thought it was fire when I just heard it, but I mean, I played it off of my phone, and I didn't like have a really good immersive experience with it or anything. I liked it off of first listen though. That's actually like legit the first time I've heard it. So
Crazy.
I know I can't believe I can't believe I didn't have it. I didn't even know it existed when you guys were like, "Oh, Saint Pablo." I'm like, "What?"
Wait.
But I like it. It sounded really good on first listen.
It is a good outro, but or a closing track, but you know what a better closing track is? Fucking Lost in the World / Who Will Survive in America off of Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's a heater. A heater and a half.
That is a heater.
You know what's even better? Bound to. I want to touch
Uh-huh,
hard on the
honey.
sink.
I feel bad for everyone that like has to hear our singing on album reviews.
Trying to
we always
recreate
do
the
that.
sound.
I feel like we're okay.
Bam.
Could be worse. Honey.
So, kind of like going into final, like kind of building up to the final review, final thoughts, I guess. What are some of your guys' favorite songs on the album? But also, what are some of your favorite features? And then kind of the inverse of that. What do you think are some of the shittiest features and some of the misses on the album in terms of like the songs? Andrew, you want to start us off?
I believe I like obviously Frank's feature, even though like it's literally his own fucking song. I actually do like the Weeknd's feature. Those are probably my two favorites. Definitely the worst one is Sia and Vic Mensa, especially because that's like the final version of Wolves, and that it makes me sick to my stomach.
It's making me sick to my stomach. you take the best feature and you take it off and put the worst features on that same song.
And like I mean for like best and worst tracks, I mean Freestyle 4 is my undoubtedly favorite song off of the album. No More Parties in LA and Frank's song are very close seconds, but Freestyle 4 is my favorite. I mean, we went over like there are some true stinkers on this album. Like, I mean, like Facts and Fade are like both just like not great songs. Auto Skips. Ultralight Beam is hella overrated. That's an auto skip song. Lowlights, well, auto skip song. This album has like the issue where like the songs aren't necessarily bad, but they're just like ones I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to. It's like the only time I hear some of the songs is if I listen to the album like straight through. Outside of that, like there's a lot of songs I just like will never listen to again.
What about you, John? What are some of your favorite features, least favorite features, best and worst songs?
I like the designer feature in part 2, obviously. But it's just Panda and it's ad libs and his broads in Atlanta.
Broads in Atlanta.
I love the Rihanna feature in Famous. It's just very smooth, and then like the beat switch after her lyrics is really good, and it's one of my favorite songs too. Feedback is really good after that. Then Lowlights, Auto Skip, bad. Highlights is good. I like the Young Thug feature too. Young Thug, I mean Jeffrey kills it on most of his features. Jeffrey kills it on most of his features, even if he's just a goofy dude. Freestyle 4, I don't really get the hype. That's an auto skip for me. I Love Kanye is definitely the best track on the album.
Silver Surfer interlude.
Yeah, that's the second best track.
Any song with French Montana on it is just awesome.
Yeah. Silver Surfer is, I mean, skipping ahead a little bit, that's a auto skip as well. Waves and FML are some of my faves, actually, even though I hate Chris Brown and I don't want to give him any streaming love at all. I do like his feature on it, unfortunately, even though he's a piece of shit. And then I love the Weeknd's feature in FML, even if it's short and just a hook. I just think it's like smooth as butter. Ty Dolla $ign on Real Friends is good too. But yeah, I like Sia and her music, but after a retrospective look, I would say that Wolves it actually probably does have the worst features, because it was changed and it could have just had Frank on it. and it would have been that much better. But instead, they gave Frank an interlude part 2 kind of track. I don't know. I feel like I was kind of like Kanye disserviced Frank by doing that. Like, rather than giving him his own track and like, oh, I'm doing you a service, you have your own track on my album. No, it like actually just did the opposite. And I skip Frank's track a lot of the times, even though I like
that.
the sound of it. Yeah. That still pisses me off. I like the original version of The Life of Pablo anyway, in general. 30 Hours is a skip. No More Parties in LA is probably one of the best songs as well on the album. Facts is fun. I enjoy it, but it's mid. Fade is also mid. And First Listen off of St. Pablo, I can't believe this is my first listen. I feel like it's just cheating the album because it sounded really good on first listen. It'd probably be in the top half, even though I've only heard it once. But I think I went through every track almost. But my favorites, to sum it up quick, are Waves, FML, Famous, and No More Parties in LA. And some of my least favorites would be probably just like the interludes. Like 30 Hours isn't an interlude, but that's one of my least favorite. Freestyle 4, Lowlights, Auto Skip, obviously. And I actually didn't say it, but Ultralight Beam is probably a skip too for me. Even though I don't mind some of the sing-songiness from Kanye, it's a definite miss for this album. It like, honestly, I could see it being on Donda instead. Or even
100%.
The, what was it, Yay that came after this?
No, yeah, it was after this.
Yeah, I feel like it is almost like a song from that album. But
yeah,
that's pretty much it for me for the
yeah.
songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Favorite features. I'm surprised no one mentioned this. Kid Cudi on fucking Father Stretch My Hands. Like that's iconic right there. Frank's track, obviously Frank Ocean on that. But also Kendrick Lamar on fucking No Parties in LA. Those are like Kendrick goes fucking hard on that song. Those are probably my favorite features. Least favorite features, Vic Mensa.
There we go. That's we all agree on that.
Yeah, and in terms of favorite songs, I Freestyle 4 definitely up there. No More Parties
That's so
in LA.
funny. Freestyle 4. That's one of my least favorite.
Yeah. No More Parties in LA. Fuck. The OG version of Wolves. I'm gonna give a shout out to the fucking OG version of Wolves. You did not fix Wolves, Kanye. You made Wolves worse.
I'm a fix Wolves. That's such a meme now.
Yeah. And I mean, I gotta give it a shout out to like Father Stretch My Hands. I mean, there's just some like I think there's a lot of fantastic songs on this album, and I think even the quote unquote worst songs on this thing, like I would say probably like 30 Hours. I mean, Ultralight Beam, like Facts. I think even though like I don't even think any of those are like bad songs, you know. Like I think at the worst you have some like a couple mid songs that you wouldn't want to like play just out, you know, randomly. You know, I still think like even a lot of those songs have like redeeming qualities in them, you know. Because there's a lot to unpack with this album in general, just because it's such a unorthodox listen, honestly. So let's go ahead and get into our final thoughts on the project. You know, pros and cons, give your full in-depth kind of take. Andrew, you want to go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, so this album is like we had mentioned earlier, I feel like it's kind of like the turning point in his lyricism from like being good to being like complete ass like it is now. And I think it's a good album by itself, but like I mean, like you said, like there's a lot of songs that I wouldn't listen to outside of this album. There's only a few that are actually good enough for me to actually put in a playlist of any kind. There's sometimes where I'll listen to the album and I'll be like, man, like I forgot how good this album was, and then I'll add songs and then they'll come up on my playlist and I'll be like, why do I have this song? I just auto skip it every time. But I mean, I think some of the cool, cool depending on how you look at it, parts of this song or of this album is just like the evolution of how it came about. Because like, I mean, this is when we were 18, about to graduate high school, and like we were like, I mean, you don't have anything to do besides just like, you know, social media, music, games and shit. So we were like following this like it was like so interesting to watch like evolve from like him releasing all these different names for the album, and then coming and like finally releasing it only on fucking Tidal, and then like editing the shit out of it while it was still streaming. But that also makes me think like, how much of this album is it actually good, and how much is it just like kind of like a nostalgia based like thing, and like all the noise surrounding it that makes me think it's a good album. Because I mean, honestly, like even like this week listening to it, like I was like, man, this is like kind of hard to listen to this whole album all the way through, because there is like a lot of dog shit like mixed in between like the pretty good tracks. And I mean, I think definitely like after thinking about it, like this album is not as good as I thought it was when it first came out. And I think part of what made me like it a lot when it first came out was like it felt like a fucking adventure to even get the goddamn album like in my like pumping noise into my fucking ears, because it was just like so many hoops to jump through and shit to even hear this thing. But I mean, I think unfortunately this is probably like the last good album he'll put out, like because I think all of his albums since have been shit, and I don't see it getting any better based on how Donda 2 sounds. So I would give this album for my rating probably a 7. I feel like there's enough good songs to warrant it not being like as low as Donda, even though I think I gave Donda like a 6, which like isn't that much.
You gave it
lower
a
than 7.
5.5, I think.
Oh, 5.5. I mean, I feel like there's enough good songs to like make it like an all right album, but like there's so much like poopy on here, and like it's an album that didn't age very well, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, you look at the album he released before this, Yeezus, like has had like a renaissance, but I don't think this album will have a renaissance. I just it just didn't. I don't think it aged well, and I don't think it kept up with like the times like going forward, like some of his other songs do, or albums do. So yeah, I'd give it a 7. I think it's fine.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll kind of jump in there because actually super interesting. I'm kind of in the like exact opposite, honestly. I feel like I feel like to me, I feel like the album has actually like aged better over time, where I kind of like originally kind of fell off of it. I ended up liking it a lot more, especially in this like most recent run through of the album. I mean, I think so many of these songs are just maybe not classic status, but like, you know, like a lot of really good runs going on here with like Father Stretch My Hands, Part 2, Famous, Feedback. Like all these songs I think are like really hard hitters, and I like how the album gets a little more introspective in the second half. I think cons are like, yeah, I think like kind of the like with the pros, I really do like the, you know, I kind of do like the more unorthodox and experimental sounding nature of the album. I think in my opinion, that's why I think it's probably aged a little bit better. But in terms of cons, and in pros, sorry, keeping in the pros, I don't know why I keep going switching back and forth. Pros, I think the features are all really, really good on this album, even at their worst. I mean, we're memeing on, I mean, the scenes, features, but I mean, I think those are worse in my eyes because there's a way better feature that was originally attached to that song. Even at the worst, I think those are fine. You know, I don't think they're like atrocities for features. But for the most part, I think a lot of the features are really, really good. And then I think Kanye's rapping ability is really, really a good showcase. Like there's a good mix between his rapping ability, but also some of the more melodic stuff on this album. So yeah, those are my pros. And then the cons, I think, are just I think he could have gotten a little more mileage out of like, you know, like the weekend. I think like some of the mixing and some of the changes he made were honestly worse. That made that songs worse, like Wolves, and like yeah, like Wolves in particular, honestly. some of like other adjustments, other songs. And then honestly, I think that this I don't think the intermissions add anything to this album. Like anything. Like you can make the argument for like Dawn FM, the features might add some or the interludes might add something, but no, these interludes are fucking stupid and pointless, like Silver Surfer intermission. So I think honestly, I think Kanye has a lot of classic albums under his belt, and I think this album probably will be remembered as a classic. I think it is looked very fondly, um, at least from like that's how I feel. I feel like it is. And maybe it's not getting that renaissance that Yeezus has gotten, but it's where it has had this complete shift in like public perception. But I also feel like Yeezus in general just had a lot more of a negative public reception at some point. So that flip maybe can't happen because there's just not that space for growth to begin with. Because I think people have always liked Life of Pablo more to some extent, or a lot more, honestly. I don't think it's Kanye's best album, but I think it's probably the best album. I mean, it's the last good album in my opinion. Oh, like great, amazing album that I think he released. I think everything he's released past that. I don't think Donda has aged as well. But honestly, I'm gonna give this album like a 9 out of 10.
Damn. Okay. Well, I feel like I might be somewhere in the middle of that. I'm not sure. No, I know my score, but I feel like I almost have a nostalgia kind of feeling too, like Andrew said with this album, where like it came out at a time where everything was just so easy. And I look fondly on like 2016 and listening to this and summer of 2016 and like even the winter and how easy shit was back then. I think looking back on it now, 6 fucking years later, that is crazy. Like it's one of those you feel old yet moments, because I can't believe this album came out 6 years ago already. I don't know if I give it points because everything that Kanye's put out since has been pretty shitty, or if it's actually that good. I'm kind of more on the side with Andrew on that. Like it's almost like it gets points because it was the last great album from Kanye. There's a lot of songs on here that I still listen to, and that when I'm thinking about Kanye, I go back to like even Ultralight Beam, I think of, even though it's not one of my favorite songs on the album. And like I think one of my main problems with the album though is that like it just kept changing. And the first version of the album that came out, in my opinion, was the best. And if I were to access that, I'd have to like go on YouTube or jump through hoops to listen to it, or like the original version of Wolves. And like Ursula said, I think the intermissions and the interludes are pretty bad. And some of the features are questionable. Like Sia and Vic Mensa, that's very interesting. It's a very interesting fix, as Kanye put it. But also that, and I'm not even going to really say this as a complaint after talking about the album, but just a thing to note is it's very mix and mashed. It feels like it's not a cohesive project to me, which is fine though, because I mean even now cover suggests that it's not anyway. So I do really like it, even after having some distance from it. But just like Ursula said, it kind of fell off my radar after a pretty short time. And after coming back to it, I realized, wow, like it took me back to 2016 a little bit. But after listening to it like 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4, 5 times this week, I think it was like 4 actually. But after listening to it quite a few times, I do think that my love for it is more so like a love of where I was at and the time that it came out and how easy shit was back then. I don't know. It is a nostalgia feeling, which is crazy to think, because in my mind, it's like, wow, it feels like this came out just a couple years ago, but it's fucking 6 years ago already. But after listening to it, I think there's going to be a few songs that make their way back into my rotation, but definitely not the whole album. I think there's a lot of stinkers. I think there's some misses. But I still do think it is a great album. And with all of that being said, kind of a jumbled up review, kind of jumbled up thoughts, but it matches the album and the songs. I'm gonna give it actually right in between you guys, 8 out of 10. I still think it's great, but definitely not Kanye's best work.
Yeah, and that puts us, I mean, right at John's score, which is an 8 out of 10. That is the ControllerCast score for Life of Pablo, which I think is pretty fitting. I think that's a good solid score for this album. Thank you everyone for listening. Yeah, we reviewed a Kanye album, not the one that probably we were expecting to review.
Yep.
But hey, it's pretty much like the 6-year anniversary for this album. So, and it was a fun one to talk about. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back with you next week.
See y'all
See you
next
guys.
week.
See you guys.
Yeah.